It's been a week. We didn't do one last week.
We didn't?
No.
Or the week before?
No, we did one the week before. Half of one.
Are you sure?
We had a
If it's
corrupted
not
file.
on the if it's not on the internet, it's not. It didn't happen.
It's up. Half it.
Did you watch it?
No.
No, I
No
didn't
one
think
did.
you did.
We saw the views come back.
Cool.
Anyway, so we're back watching, and it was your pick this week.
Yep.
You picked. You said this is one of your favorite movies.
Fantastic movie.
You like this?
One of the best ever made.
Okay. I was happy to go back to my.
That might be a little bit ridiculous. What's the beeping all about?
I don't know what the beeping is. I think it's something different.
Somebody's pager's going off. Someone's gonna sell some drugs.
Drug money.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Or maybe there's a prison breakout.
Prison Break. Maybe. Also, this was kind of a good movie to watch because Baby Driver came out 2 weeks ago. I saw opening day.
What are we talking about? We're talking about a different movie, right?
I know, I'm just saying, but it's kind of funny that with this movie is a like heist, like bank robbery movie.
Oh, okay. All right.
And
sure.
It still coincides
Okay,
with recent news.
And if you haven't seen Baby Driver, go and see it.
Go see it right now.
Yeah.
It's one of the best movies this generation has ever.
It's aiming the bar a little high, but it is definitely a good movie and worth seeing.
It is a great movie.
Yeah, we could talk about it all day.
Better than Suicide Squad, I would say. I would dare to say.
Yeah, well, the Muppet movie's better than Suicide Squad.
So without further ado, let's review Get Shorty. Sorry, no. Without further ado, let's do Get Shorty.
Out of Sight.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Different movie.
Not sure why you're saying Get Shorty. We already reviewed Get Shorty a little while ago.
Sorry. This movie, as you said, is by the same. It's based on a novel by the same author.
Yes.
As
the brilliant and no longer with us, rest in peace, Elmore Leonard writes huge characters, and there are some great directors that bring these awesome characters off the pages and into the movies. The screenplay is also written by Scott Frank, who is known for a lot of really great movies. He did the screenplay for Get Shorty, as you mentioned. He did Logan.
Really?
Yeah. So he does some
Quite
really
the
good work.
resume.
He did Marley and Me too, and I mean that was like one of those tearjerker movies. So he's kind of got. You never saw it?
One of those are not like the other.
No, of course not. I'm just saying his diverse.
Yeah.
He can take a story and really work with it. And I personally, I was able to read the book in the couple of weeks that we took to study this movie. And because I was very fascinated with the differences of movies and books. Because, I mean, you can do a lot of stuff on page that may not get past the censors.
Yeah.
Elmore Leonard does write very violently. He also wrote Rum Punch, which was what Jackie Brown was based on too, right? So, and there's a reoccurring character in this movie that was in Jackie Brown as well. This came out in '98. Jackie Brown came out in '95. So yeah. And as we were talking before this podcast, you said you didn't really like this movie.
No, I didn't.
So I think let's try and have you tell me what you didn't like about it. See if I can sway you.
Okay. First things first, this has nothing to do with whether I liked it or not, but as soon as I saw this one character, and I'm not going to say the character's name, and you're going to guess it right away. So as soon as I saw this character, I went, Snatch and Get Shorty.
Yep.
He plays basically the exact same character. Like, dresses the exact same at least. In all of them. Do you know who I'm talking about?
You're talking about Dennis Farina?
Yes.
Who plays Marshall Sisko. Karen Sisko, played by Jennifer Lopez. He basically plays the same character in every movie, but I think he kills it. And
he does a great job as that character.
If you didn't see Snatch or Get Shorty, I'm trying to remember the chronological order of me seeing. This is the movie I saw third, I believe, with from Snatch to Get Shorty.
Same. This is the third one.
Yeah, but I think, and I know from interviews that I've watched of him, because I followed him quite a bit and wanted to know the commentaries and stuff on the other movies that we watched. He's not a trained actor. He's kind of like I think he was a cop or something. He was something. He did something before, and then someone found him and said, "You'd be great in this movie," and then he kind of caught the acting bug, and he does essentially play the same character. So I guess I can give you that. But in this movie, he plays a very not a central character. He's more of Jennifer Lopez or Karen Sisko, who's a character that's been through Elmore Leonard novels. There's a bunch of there was actually a TV show. They only did a season of it, but it was all based on her, and her being a marshal. So this story's about a prison break basically at first, and it's a lot about Jack Foley, who's a
Played by George
mastermind bank robber. He's robbed over 200 banks in his life.
And never used a gun. Never
had to use a gun. And like I think the screenplay leads to a lot with the novel. He's a very smooth individual, and I mean George Clooney's smooth to begin with. It's hard to argue that he isn't. But I don't think you could put Chili Palmer in the same position. You couldn't have Travolta playing this same character. He's likable, and the chemistry between him and Jennifer Lopez is something that I think we talk about. I talk about more than you talk about the actual love story. So it's kind of hard to say what this movie is. It's not really a comedy, even though it's funny. It's kind of a straight-laced comedy.
Yeah.
It's not really a thriller. It's not really a drama, but it's kind of everything mixed in together, right? So what else?
So let me start off by saying, as much as you may not like this, as soon as you told me it was a book, I could see it as a really good book. As soon as I thought about the storyline and stuff like that, I was like, this would be a really good book. I don't believe it translated very good over to cinemas.
Okay.
There was one character I did like, and I thought his arc was interesting towards the end. I forget his name. He wears the sweatband. He's the goofier, like, relaxed guy. He picks them up in the car, ends up leaving them with...
Are you talking about the Steve Zahn's character? I believe his name is Glenn Michaels.
Yes, Glenn. Yes, Glenn.
He steals the show in a lot of the scenes he's in.
I really liked him. I thought his character, especially when... I thought they should have made a movie based on him getting in over his head. I liked that, where all of a sudden he's like, oh, I have to what? Oh, I don't like this. And then at one point when he's like, I don't want to be a part of this, and he's like freaking out, I was like, I like that. When he was on the screen, I snapped. I was like, that's really good.
Yeah. The way he's introduced is awesome, and he's kind of like he wears sunglasses even at night.
Yeah.
And that's why I have these here. Put these
the sunglasses?
somewhere closer. Yeah. These Glenn Michaels always wearing the sunglasses, and the jokes are straight from the novel. It's like you tell Glenn, if I see him with his sunglasses on, tell him I'm going to step on them, and I might not even take them off first. Or I'm going to throw them off a building, and I might not take them off his face first. I love that kind of dialogue. That's kind of what Elmore Leonard's kind of famous for. Is like kind of like the irony of being a criminal still has kind of another side to it, and they blow it out of proportion big time. Like he basically gets thrown in the trunk with Jennifer Lopez and Karen Sisco, and the chemistry between. They talk about movies sitting in the trunk. I don't know if you've seen the movies that they talk about. I haven't. But the way they talk about it is the way you and I would talk about movies, right? Like, I mean, anybody that's into movies would really like that. There wasn't an actual scene where they're in a movie theater or anything. So,
most of the gripes I have about this movie have to do with one character, really, because I think, I don't really like rom-coms. And the fact that they put like a romance thing in this, I didn't really like. I also didn't really like where I didn't believe half the things that she would do. She had no real reason. Like when she sees him in the elevator and she just kind of like looks at him and he goes down, like he waves and stuff like that. I was sitting there, I'm like, why? Why are you not? I'm like, and I can hear anyone give me an answer for it that's like, oh, you know, because she had feelings for him or something like that. I'm like, she at least though showed up. She was still going forward to catch him, and
well, she has to, right? She's a federal marshal.
Yeah, and I didn't see like on her face. I didn't see a struggle. I saw her just going, oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Okay, there he goes. I didn't see him go. I didn't see her go like, I should, but I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like I didn't see any of that, and that could just be me not liking romance movies.
Yeah.
But
I think Ty, I'm sorry, I hate to say this, but when you get older, you will appreciate these kinds of things. These are real life interactions between the conflict of what's right and what your heart feels. And I can't explain that more than you just dealing with it when it comes up, right? Like,
I just think
that's what this whole movie's based on, is like the conflict of what if we met in a different circumstance? What if we had a time out? These kinds of things are awesome. I love them. I love them, and that's why I love a movie like True Romance, where the principal part is the actual relationship as a character.
Yeah.
And it seems like they're never going to hook up, and then they finally do. I'm like, how are they going to do this, you know? And I love how that scene's cut. It's kind of cut. Basically, he shows up in the restaurant or the hotel bar, and these guys are hitting on her, and then he comes in, and it's like super smooth, and I'm loving that stuff, right? Like, I love it.
I hate when movies use the fact of, they're into each other to explain anything, to help the plot move forward.
Well, that's what the whole movie's about.
I
So
know,
what else would you have this movie do, right?
I think there would have been a more interesting way to put it. Like, again, like at the very beginning where he has the upper hand, and he kind of, like, in the way she has no fact in the matter, and that's how she has like Stockholm syndrome. Like, but like, it's not her making decisions.
They do talk about that there was another guy that she was dating that happened to be Robin Banks at the same time.
Yeah.
And when it came down to it, she ended up shooting him. But the FBI agent is like, well, why didn't you do that with Foley? You had a total opportunity to do it. And it was really just, she was falling in love with him.
I just find it, like, if they, like, I think one thing they should have done at the very beginning was maybe have it so that she was, like, that they kept her. So then it was still not her making stupid decisions based on it. It was him making smart decisions based on it. And it was less of just kind of, for me, her being I want to say, you know how in a lot of movies, and we've kind of gotten away from this now, like with the Star Wars having a lead actress, where it used to always be the girl was kind of didn't really do much. And that's, to me, what it was. Like, it was showing, like, well, yeah, she found a guy, so she can't really do her job. And I'm like, I would have liked a lot more. There's a movie that's in my head that does it, and I can't remember what movie it is.
Yeah.
Where it's the whole time she's trying to get away because she's, I think it's called, like, Bounty Hunter.
Didn't see it.
Anyway, it's this bounty hunter gets this girl. It wasn't a great movie by any chance.
Yeah.
But it was still, I liked that. That it was like, she wasn't drawn to him.
Yeah.
He was making her.
Yeah.
And it kind of along the way developed like a Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
Where in this one, she's making stupid decisions. I also didn't like George Clooney's character. I'm going to say, I don't really like George Clooney.
Okay.
I just find, again, like we say a lot of times, all of his characters are roughly the same, except for I never find them interesting.
Yeah.
It's always, for me, an awkward way of being smooth.
I think it comes with, again, maturity.
Yeah.
Maybe when I watched this movie at that age, I wouldn't see all those things either. I think George Clooney, at this point in the movie, he was the sexiest man alive. You know what I mean? They had troubles on the set getting through some of the scenes because so many people came to just see him. You know, like the commentary is like full of people getting autographs and him being a fan. But like as a character, I'm able to kind of like forget who he is as an actor. Because, I mean, I agree with you in most movies. George Clooney, he's smooth in every movie that he's in, but none of them really, get me the way this one. And I think my principal love for this is Elmer Leonard, the novel, and how true the screenplay is to the book. The only scenes that are kind of taken out of the book are the ones that are super violent. Like you take, we haven't even talked about Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle's a great actor. He's the guy that plays Snoop.
Yeah, Snoop.
Maurice Miller. And he brought a lot of his own attitude to that role.
I did like that character. I did think he was
interesting. So he, basically his crew, like his brother and White Boy Bob, that's all part of the book. they actually are going around and they're doing really terrible things. Like they're raping and they're murdering and actually, I don't know if you noticed, but the special crimes detective that she visits, I think his name's Raymond as well, Raymond Cruz. He's actually at the scene that they did that break and enter in, that home invasion.
Oh, really?
So like all the people that are like laying around that crack house, that's who they went. That's where they went to do that. They kind of took some of that stuff out of the movie to make it a little less violent. Yeah. But the books does it in great detail of what that scene was all about. And they did do a bunch of deleted scenes. I was delighted. My brother actually just bought this on Blu-ray, so I was able to watch all the deleted scenes and all the audio commentaries and stuff. And just about every deleted scene is straight from the book. And it would never have made it in the movie. It makes total sense. A lot of times you see a deleted scene and you're like, well, there's a reason that was deleted. Yeah. But now when you see this, it's like, yeah, you can't show a guy's head blown right off in a movie that's like this, you know? Like there's some swearing in it and stuff. Let me see if I can talk. I want to talk about like the style of the movie. And maybe you can appreciate a bit of that.
Cinematography?
Like the cinematography, like
I do have a comment for this.
Okay, so what I'm saying is like when they go to Detroit, they use this gunmetal blue that's perfect on everybody. Like it's like this, all the blacks are a little bit blue, and it just kind of gives you that vibe of what Detroit is. Yeah. Miami's bright and colorful. Even the prison jumpsuits are yellow. Yeah. You know, like I mean, that's not something you would see in most prisons, right? Like you'd see the orange or you'd see the blue. And like the freeze frames that they do, I didn't notice it the first couple of times until I was analyzing the movie, but like the freeze frame that they use at the very start of the movie, George Clooney comes out of the bank and he throws his tie down, and that's when you see the credit of Out of Sight. I thought that was super stylish, and yeah, and it's like, and they jump around from the books is told in chronological order. So you don't actually meet Karen Sisko until probably, you know, chapter 5. Okay. So you know all this stuff about Jack Foley and him being in prison in Glades and Long Poke and all that stuff. You see all those stuff. So they kind of Tarantino it. They didn't call it that. That's my term. But it made more sense that you kind of see something. Well, Tarantino does it in pretty much every movie other than Death Proof. Yeah. Just jumps around from things. But like they kind of told the story the way they wanted to see it. So they took the book and made it into a movie, and I think they excelled on that as far as telling from the book to the movie. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. I think the style's good, but what did you want to say about the style?
So I do agree with you about how the color, especially Detroit, like I liked the Detroit scenes. I thought those were really nice. Like I even liked George Clooney near the end, especially when they go into the club and they're like, well, where's your friend? And he's like, oh, he's gone. And he goes, okay, well, we're leaving. And it was kind of like, I liked him at that part, and I did like the cinematography there. The problem I have with it is when they're in California. It's California.
No.
Where?
Miami.
Oh, Miami. Yeah, sorry. Miami. Miami is this. The whole part is done in everything kind of looked orange to me. It might have just been the DVD, but to me, everything kind of had like an orange tint to it, which can be saying, oh, well, you know, it's sun, it's warm there, and stuff like that. But for me, what happened to me was immediately in my head, I played back every movie from the 90s except for like The Matrix that had that same tint on everything, and it just kind of blurred, and I went, like at the whole beginning part, like just with how it was shot, my whole head was going, oh, I don't like the color. I don't like the color.
I think they wanted to differentiate between Miami, Detroit, Long Poke must be, I'm not even sure where that is.
But like once they got to Detroit and once they got rid of the orangeness and they got the blue, I don't like the color blue, but I did like the blue tint on it. I thought this is kind of like...
They called it gunmetal blue in the commentary. Yeah. So yeah.
It was just like, I don't know. I liked it a lot more. It might just because I like cold.
Yep.
But
well, you see that, and that's what they wanted to do. They emphasize a lot of that. Of the weather is cold. Like, it's cold there. I'm freezing my ass off out here, and all that stuff. I liked how they did that, and the Glenn running off and stuff. I'm just trying to think of any. There's a lot of cameos and a lot of actors that are fairly well known now. You have Luis Guzman in there as one of the Cubans that escaped with them. Albert Brooks, who plays a great character, he plays the rich guy, Dick the Ripper. Yeah. And he does a great job in prison and with the toupee and the veneer, the teeth and everything. One of my favorite actresses, and I have a big crush on her every time I see her in movies, and she was in a lot of movies in the 2000s, is Catherine Keener. She plays Foley's ex-wife, Adele, the magician's assistant. I love that story of Chino, who's Luis Guzman's character, trying to find out how the magic trick's made. It's like, how do you saw the woman in half? And he wants to get to Adele to get to Jack. But it seems like his same desire to find the person that he escaped prison with and find out what the magic trick is. It seems like near the end when he's getting arrested, all he really wants to know is what the magic, how do you saw a woman in half? That's the Elmore Leonard style, right? Like, that's the kind of things that make me laugh, and I love these kinds of things in movies. A lot of the dialogue is kept the same. It was uncanny. I didn't read the book. I listened to it like it was an Audible thing. Go get Audible. You can get your first book for $14.95. Yeah, they're not sponsoring us yet.
No, they're not.
But yeah, anyways, and it was uncanny how much the movie came out through the book. And I'm picturing the characters because I've seen the movie, and I was kind of thinking, what if I didn't know what these characters look like? And Buddy, who is played by Ving Rhames, he actually in the book is white. So they were able to change things a little bit too. Actually, if you go back to Jackie Brown, the book, Jackie Brown's white in that movie too. Really? Yeah. So they do a lot of good casting choices as far as races and different things and stuff. Karen Sisco is supposed to be white, not Latino. But her dad's not Latino, right? So it
would make sense.
You could see that. It makes sense that that's her father, but the mother must have been Latino or whatever, because she is very Latino.
So there's one thing I will give it credit for in this movie, and I don't usually give credit to movies for adhering. Is that how you pronounce that word? Adhering?
Adhering to?
Adhering to the casual viewer. Okay. I usually don't like that with movies. I'm usually like, well, you know what? If you're going to do whatever during it and come back halfway through and you're lost, then you know what? It's your own fault. But one thing I did like about this movie is, so I watched this movie twice. The first time, actually my dogs got out, so because I own 2 dogs. So I had to run down the street and get them back. I came back in, and then I went back to watch the movie, and it was at the very end, and I knew that they were in Detroit, kinda. Yeah. And I was like, I don't.
When you say the very end, what scene was it?
It was when they're breaking in. Yeah, they're breaking into the house, and I was like, I was very confused. I was like, where are they? What are they doing? And then they kept saying they're here to break into someone's house, and I was like, what? I was like, whose house? And then the guy came out, and I was like, oh, it's that guy. And I did like how they could have very easily just had him not home, or just kind of been like, yeah, you should know. I know they didn't do that for the reason so people, if they left and come back, they do it. But I did like that. In my head, I was like, well, you know what? That was nice because I had to go do something. I came back and I was still back in the loop.
Well, funny thing is that's one of the big changes with the book.
Really?
Because in the book, he's not home. You never see him again after the prison.
Oh, really?
No. The person that answers the door is a younger fella in the book, and he's diddling the maid. Oh. So it's this young guy diddling the older lady maid. The choice they made for the maid was good too, but she was a lot more vulgar. And like I said, Snoopy's crew was a lot more violent and rapey, which they did kind of get rapey near the end of that movie.
Well, was it rape or was it because?
No, he had his way with her. And then she threw the blanket over him, and that's when Foley shot her, right? So, and that's straight out of the book. Okay. In the book, he had a shotgun, and the whole house caught fire.
Oh.
They were like, we can't afford that. So they shot the movie and just said, no, we'll just kill him.
We'll just kill him.
The other thing is you know how they have Buddy take off with the stones?
Yes.
Buddy actually, you know the scene where Foley goes back into the house?
Mm-hmm.
The gunshot that goes through the door actually kills Buddy in the book.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they changed that big time too. So Buddy is alive in the movie, dead in the book. But other than that, everything else was virtually the same. My favorite part of the movie, and I mean, this is the part that I think of when somebody says out of sight. White boy Bob walking up the stairs. It's kind of set up.
Yeah.
He kind of trips as they're going out to the van the first time. Then he trips when they're going up the stairs the second time. And then the third time, which is, the rule of three, he ends up shooting himself in the head. And I remember laughing so hard at that scene. And I was like, that has to be from the book. There's no way. Wasn't from the book. Completely made for the movie. They had him trip the 3 times. It was a complete setup. I was very surprised to find out that wasn't an Elmore Leonard written part.
I do like that part.
Yeah, it's super funny. And then at the end of the movie, there's an extra scene tacked on from the book. The book is like she shoots Foley in the leg, book over. Oh. I was surprised. I was like thinking, I really like that last scene, but that's how a book translates
to the movie.
You can kind of like visuals go in there. They're talking about what they're thinking rather than actually seeing what they're thinking. But then they have this awesome scene, which was written into the end. I can't remember, they said whether Scott Frank came up with it or there was the director. But they had Samuel Jackson, who played a cameo role, didn't get paid for it. He had just got done doing The Negotiator with Kevin Spacey, which was another great movie that Samuel Jackson had a pretty good run in the 90s as far as hits. He was just like everywhere, as a 43-year-old actor, he was like killing it.
Blazing through.
Absolutely. Like he had done Jackie Brown and Pulp Fiction, and like he was back on the scene. So they actually had him as a prisoner that was supposed to go back the day before. They held him and they found out that he's broken out of prison 11 times. Yeah. So it's a very charming ending to the movie, and it makes you smile, and it makes me think about how awesome that is. The other part, I was talking about cameos. They have Ray Nicolette come in, who was played by Michael Keaton. Okay. He played the same character in Jackie Brown, who was an ATF guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was very confused the whole time. Yeah. I was just saying K.
Yeah. No, I could tell.
Yeah, okay, yes.
Could you tell?
Could you tell? Can you spot my stupidity?
No, Ray Nicolette was an ATF guy in Jackie Brown, and then in this one he was an FBI agent, and they just kind of thought it would be a funny thing. And the director, I'm trying to think what his name is. The director's name was Steven Soderbergh. He actually called Tarantino and was like, "Is it cool that I use this character that you used?" And as far as their knowledge, I mean, this was a commentary that was done in '98 when the movie was coming out. And I've said this before, some commentaries
are terrible.
Well, some of them are terrible, but some of like this one particularly is really good because they're not talking to anybody but each other in this. They know that this is a fairly new medium. They don't know who might listen to this. Yeah. But they're kind of like, bickering back and forth of who came up with what and did all this stuff. It's awesome. And then when they're talking about how that happened with that part with the Tarantino thing and how Michael Keaton played the role that he'd already played before, they think that's the first time a character's done that in 2 different movies, played the same character that wasn't a main character. It wasn't a movie about them. But I mean, that's '98. So yeah, of course, you take the Marvel universe. There's cameo characters of the same actors and even different actors. You take Rhodey. He's been played by 2 actors.
Did you know, because we're a fan of Quentin Tarantino, that
did you know that
Jamie Foxx has played Django twice in a movie.
Oh, has he now?
Do you know what the second one is?
No.
It's a terrible movie known as A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Oh, yeah?
He shows up and he shoots something in a fair.
Yeah.
And then turns the camera. Oh, he shoots a guy at the fair and then turns to someone and says, "People die at the fair," and then walks away. And I was just like, oh, it was a nod at it. And then someone later in like a Fax video I was watching was like, no, that's actually supposed to be Django. Like, that is Django. And I'm
That's
like, that
funny.
is so...
Yeah,
I wish they picked a
I
different
wasn't
thing.
into that. I was like, I like Family Guy and everything, but it's just like when you transfer it to a live action, it's like, yeah, this has been done before. Oh, by who? By you.
By you. Anyway, so yeah, so you really like this
Excuse me.
movie. I thought it was it's par for the course.
Yeah, I
But-
have a hard time convincing somebody when they don't like something.
Yes.
But I think as you grow older, and 10 years from now, maybe you'll
I'll appreciate
video message me, because texting will be a thing of the past,
Yeah. Everyone will just.
and then maybe you'll
FaceTime.
be good at that.
Maybe. I wouldn't hold your
Maybe.
breath though.
Yeah, no.
The one thing though that I will say is I've already watched the movie that we're doing next week, and compared to that, this one's art. Like, it makes White Zombie look like just the holy grail.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you'll have to watch next week for that. Anyway, so a little thing that we just added is this little bottom part, just in case every week we're gonna do this where it's gonna be the
Rotten
stories.
Tomatoes, 93.
Yes, that is actually very good.
That's awesome.
That is very good.
7 out of 10 on IMDb.
Yeah, it didn't do bad on everything else. Just
Why would something be out of 4?
yeah, when I was putting all this stuff in, I was like, why did you pick 4? Why couldn't you pick even 5? would make
It's
more
just his
sense?
rating system.
Maybe he was just drunk. Do we know that? That's maybe could be a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Ebert was drunk every day on the show. I want to see that. Anyway, so would you like to rate this movie something?
I rate this 3.5 out of 4. Roger Ebert's fake hairs.
Okay. I would rate this, I'm going to say 4 out of 10.
Ouch.
Actually, no, I'll say 5 out of 10. 5, that's a nice,
Double ouch.
number. Double ouch. Out of 10 fake Donald Trump hairs. If we're going to do the hair thing.
Yep.
That's topical, kind of. Is it topical? Because it's kind of
No one talks about him.
Yeah, no one talks about him. It's definitely not. We could now put him in the thumbnail now, the clickbait. There we go. But we totally
Please don't.
talked about Donald Trump. Totally. Anyway, thank you for watching episode
18?
8. Is it 18?
The last one was 17.
Yeah, so this one's 18.
Could call it 16 and a half. This is 18.
This is 18. Wait, no.
18.
Yeah, 18.
Till I die.
Okay, well, have a good one. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll be back next week with another movie.
Thank you, George.
Why?